Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you are new here. I'm Monica, and today's video has been a long time coming. So, about 4 or 5 months ago, I put up a little vlog where I tried out the Shark Flexstyle. And since then, I have been thoroughly testing it. I have gotten my full-fledged thoughts. In today's video, we're gonna talk about the set I purchased. There are a couple of different sets you can get. I'm hitting this box that it's in. We're gonna talk about the additional models that are available for purchase, the price I paid, which is slightly different than the retail price because I bought this during the Sephora sale. We're gonna talk about the additional attachments that were not included with the set that I purchased, that I decided to purchase outside of the set for this video for you guys. Then we're going to talk about the testing methods for the Airwrap look. The attachment that is comparable to the Airwrap for Dyson is called the Auto Wrap in Shark World. And then I'm going to talk about all the other attachments that I tested and my thoughts on those. We're going to talk about my favorite method of the Airwrap Auto Wrap trial that I did. I tried a few different methods. I'm going to talk about my favorite one, and I'm going to talk about my most used attachments. Of course, we're going to hit pros and cons. Then I'm going to talk about if it works well with textured hair. Does it work in the humidity? Then I'm going to basically tell you if I think it's necessary to purchase and if I think it's worth the price for me or overall for other people in general. So today's video is going to be very thorough. As you can see, I am referencing a document on my computer. It is 6 pages long, and I'm going to link this document in the description box down below. If you ever want to reference back to it, if you're deciding, if you're kind of toggling with the idea of purchasing this and you want to see my thoughts. So I'm going to be referencing this a lot, so I'm going to be looking back and forth. I hope that doesn't bother you. I wish I could memorize all of this, but there are so many points that I want to hit that I want to make sure I'm not missing any. Like I said, I tried this out for about 4 to 5 months. The video that I featured my first impression of this in was in early May, but that video was of course pre-recorded a little bit, so I tried it out in mid-April. So by the time this is going up, it's going to be close to 5 months of me testing this out, not using any other hair tool that I have. So the set that I purchased and tested is the Straight and Wavy set. I have wavy hair. It could tinker a little bit on curly, but it truly is a wave pattern and not a curl pattern. There are also other models that you can get for curly and coily hair. That's the curly and coily set. Then you can get the all hair type set, which basically is a set of every single attachment they sell for this tool. So my hair is thick. I have a lot of it. It's textured, wavy, it can be frizzy, especially in humidity. I've been testing this out in all the humid months. I live in the South. We have high humidity indexes here, so I promise you I have tested it very thoroughly in the humidity. And like I said, I have lots of wave all over my head. It's gotten even wavier as I've gotten older because I've actually started taking care of it. I just have a lot going on here, and honestly, I had never purchased any tool like this in the past, like the Dyson, because I just didn't think these kind of tools would work on textured hair that can get frizzy, or with somebody who lives in a humid environment, or all of the above, which I am. So now that we have covered that, let's talk about the price. So the set that I got, like I said, Straight and Wavy, it retails for $299.99. Shark's website, Sephora, it retails everywhere for that price. I got it during the Sephora sale, like I said, and I paid $263.12 with the tax included, just in case you're wondering. And so I did buy 4 additional attachments. I bought the wide tooth comb, which is $29.95. And then I also bought the round brush. It's not the big round brush, it's a smaller round brush. And that one was also $29.95. And then I also purchased the 0.95 inch auto wrap curlers. These are also $29.95. These auto wrap curlers are slightly smaller than the ones that are included in the set, which are 1 1/4 inch. Then I also purchased the storage case. So this isn't really an attachment, it's just an additional purchase, and this is $49.99. And I also purchased a knockoff that is for the Shark on Amazon, and that's $39.99, but it's quite bulky, and so I do think for an extra $10 you can get the name brand one if you're interested in having something to house every single attachment they sell. So I did try every single attachment that is sold. You can get all of these attachments in the all hair types set that they sell for less money, but I wanted the silver one. I was just feeling neutral because I don't know why, nobody cares. So with everything that I bought, all the extra attachments, the carrying case, the set that I purchased itself, I paid all in for $16.96. That does include the Sephora sale discount of the set that I bought initially. And so if I didn't buy the set on sale, I would pay $42.74. I know we're saying a lot of prices right now. I'm just trying to give you an idea because this, of course, is a pricey hair tool. So just for comparison's sake, the Dyson Airwrap price is $599.99. You get 6 attachments with that and a carrying case. This is the special edition one. So I'm still paying less money for every attachment they have for less money. So that's good to know. You're still paying less if you get every single attachment, the carrying case. So let's go ahead and discuss the testing methods I tried out for the Airwrap look, which is what I've got going on here. I did, of course, style my hair with a Shark to show it to you on camera. So the first time I tried it, which was in that vlog, I let my hair completely air dry. It's against the status quo of how these tools are typically instructed on how to use them. That was a very interestingly orchestrated sentence. But if I'm going in with a traditional hairdryer, I always let my hair air dry, and then I just kind of blow it straight from there because I feel like that causes less damage for my particular hair type. That's not the same for everybody. I know some people, like, their hair does better when they blow dry it. Not me. If I blow dry it, it just does better if I go from dry to just straight, you know what I mean? After I let my hair air dry, I went in with the paddle brush attachment and I just gave it a slight blowout. I also went in with the concentrator and actually blew it dry as well, and I can show you some footage from that vlog so you can kind of see what I'm talking about. After I initially tried just like the traditional, like holding it like a hair dryer with a concentrator in a round brush way, I did try it with the paddle brush. Way liked that. Like, that blew me away, and like off initial impressions I was like, wow, this is way better than I was expecting. And I used that to blow dry the rest of my head. Then the next day I pulled out the 1 1/4 attachment, which is included in the original set, and I used that on completely dry hair to style the hair. Then after I did that, I let it sit for 30 minutes before I combed it out with my fingers and lightly spritzed it with this stuff right here, the Redken Dry Texture Finishing Spray. I really love this stuff. So you might be wondering, why would you go in on all dry hair? It's like basically you're supposed to do from wet to damp to dry. I just wanted to try it out that way because I was going in like I would with any other tool and implementing that mindset into using this tool. So the verdict of that testing method was it lasted pretty well, but it did fall pretty significantly by the end of the day. It still looked really pretty, but it did not hold as well as other methods. So the next 3 times that I tested this out, I washed my hair, I went in, used the blow dry attachment and the paddle brush attachment, and I dried my hair 80% of the way, so it was still slightly damp, like how these tools are instructed to be used. So then after I dried it 80% of the way that way, I went in with the 1 1/4 attachments that are included in the set, and I styled it on damp hair, let that sit for 30 minutes once again, combed it out with my fingers, and went back in to set it with the Redken Dry Texture Finishing Spray. And the verdict was that it lasted pretty well. I do feel like because I went from wetter hair initially, you know, I had just washed my hair, then I went immediately on to style it. It did create some frizz. Created some frizz, which turned me off a little bit. And this is what typically happens if I go in with a regular blow dryer on wet hair. It creates more frizz than if I go in on my air dried hair and blow it from there. So that sounded wrong. And blow dry it from there. So I didn't love this method, but it was more in tune with how they tell you to use these tools. So I wanted to try it out. Then I found my sweet spot. The final times, and pretty much the only way I've been using this to get the Airwrap effect on my hair, is with this final method. I let my hair air dry completely. We went back to the first method, let it air dry. Then I used the paddle brush attachment to blow dry my hair and give it a mildly straight blowout. And here's where things start to change. The next day, I went in with this little bottle in each section. So I'd like pull a section, spray it with some water. Then I would go in with the Paul Mitchell Flexible Style Hot Off the Press Thermal Hairspray. So this is a heat protectant. sprayed each group of hair that I was styling in that moment right after I spritzed it with water, and I went in with 0.95 auto wrap curlers. And so after I did that, I would let it sit for 15 to 30 minutes. I kind of toggled with the time here. I didn't find it made much of a difference if you waited 15 or 30, just as long as it was completely cooled. And then after that, I combed through with my fingers after it was completely set. Then I went in with the Redken Dry Texture Finishing Spray, and this was the magic combination. It lasted very well. That's how I did my hair today, and I really like the way it looks. It lasts for days. I don't have to really touch it up except for like maybe some baby hairs, because I do have curls and waves like on my hairline. But other than that, I don't have to go in with the Airwrap part and redo any parts typically. Sometimes I do, depending on how I sleep. But it's pretty much set for like 4 to 5 days, which I was extremely excited to find. And you may be thinking, that sounds like a lot of effort to make this tool work, which we're going to get to in just a little bit. So now let's talk about the other attachments I tried and my thoughts. I tried out the large round brush, which is included in the original set, and I liked it, but I pretty much only used it if I was in a hurry, because pretty much all I did was add like a little flip to the ends. I have pretty long hair, so like I feel like that attachment really only flips up or down, you know, like there's not a whole lot it does. I don't dislike it, I just don't feel myself reaching for it as much as the other ones that I love. Then I tried out the traditional round brush attachment, which you do have to purchase separately, and I liked it, but, and this is gonna come back when I bring up the cons, one thing that I love about this is how it actually converts into like a traditional blow dryer sort of structure. And because of that, this little area right here where it spins, sometimes if you're using the round brush attachments, your hair may get stuck. It doesn't happen every time, but I do feel the need to call that out, because I know the Dyson doesn't do that, because the Dyson doesn't twist like this, and it is a great, like, I love this function of this, but there is a little bit of a drawback. So that was one thing that I ran into. Didn't happen all the time, but I did have to like make sure I was paying attention and being careful, because I didn't want to snag my hair. So then I also tried out the wide tooth comb attachment. I bought this separately. I only bought it to try for this video, and it does not do anything for my hair. Absolutely nothing. I already told you my hair type, but if you have any sort of texture, I wouldn't recommend this attachment. I don't feel like it does anything. So then lastly, I did try out the diffuser, which of course I bought separately because that's included in the Curly Coily set, but not in the Wavy Straight for obvious reasons. But I can diffuse my hair. I like the way it looks with that, so I did try out the diffuser, and this, shockingly enough to me, has become one of my most used attachments aside from the auto wrap curlers. I really like the way that this styles my hair, and I love that I can turn the tool to be like an actual hair dryer. So yeah, I was really excited that the diffuser attachment worked out so well. I think that's definitely worth looking into if you do have the wavier part of the straight wavy set. You know what I'm saying? Like if you're on the wavier side and you decide to get the straight wavy, maybe try out the diffuser too. I want to talk about what method worked best of the auto wrap methods that I discussed just a second ago, and which one was my favorite, which all kind of ties together. So like I said, kind of already mentioned this, method 3, which was the long one where you wet the hair, and then I went in and I sprayed it with this on each section that I was styling at the time. That was my favorite. I felt like that was how my hair lasted the longest. It looked the best. It works really nicely. It lasts in humidity when I do it like this, so that was definitely my favorite and the best. So my most used attachments were the paddle brush for blow drying straight, which shocked me slightly because I didn't think I would like this attachment as much as I do, but I really do. It is such a nice attachment. It really does a great job of getting all the kinks out. And then the 0.95 inch auto wrap curlers, I much prefer over the 1 1/4. I find that my hair just lasts better with those and looks better with those. I do think on Shark's website you can pick and choose attachments. If you did that, I would recommend the 0.95 ones over the 1 1/4, which might be like against what you would naturally think, but I promise they work a little bit better. The diffuser is another one of my most used attachments. Like I was just saying, it works wonderfully. I love the style I get with it. It's voluminous, it's beautiful, minimal frizz for like diffusing. Lastly, the most used attachment I use is the concentrator for the hair dryer capability of this. And I really like it overall. We're gonna get to the cons. I do have a con about that one, so stick with me. So now that we have touched on all that, let's go through the pros. So what I really love about this tool and about these kind of tools is that it's basically just a different version of a blow dryer. It works with warm / sort of hot air. And so because of that, I'm thinking this probably is much better for your hair than putting a straight on iron on your hair. And so that's definitely a pro. It's also cheaper than the Dyson. Of course, it's still expensive, but even with all the extra attachments and this carrying case, it is still cheaper, which is excellent. So all in, I paid less for everything, including the attachments and the carrying case, than 3 separate hot tools combined. And I'm referencing my blow dryer, my straightener, and my curling iron. Those in total, which shocked me when I found out this total of the 3 of those, is $529.48. They're higher end. I feel like that's the only way I can really get my hair to work is with more higher end hot tools. So it is cheaper than that. Now this doesn't come with a straightener, but it does have some straightening capabilities. I don't think I could get completely straight hair with this. I don't think that's the point either, but I did want to kind of mention those numbers just to give you an idea. I love how this tool folds into a hairdryer. I think that's excellent. The Dyson Airwrap does not have that capability, which is one of the reasons I shied away from ever getting it, because I need something that is going to get all the kinks out. And the Dyson blow dryer function, it's just like drying your hair. It's not actually doing any blowing out. I really, really like that. One of my favorite things about it for sure. So I love that this works on my hair type. Like I said, texture, wavy, thick, lots of it. There's a lot going on here, and it works really, really well, even in high humidity, which I have been dealing with this summer for sure. If you live near me or in the same area as me, you definitely know what I'm talking about. So it works really, really well. Much better than I thought it would on my hair type, so that was a pleasant surprise. Another pro, which is kind of funny, is that every single attachment that they have available fits in this carrying case. They all fit perfectly, neatly. You're not cramming them in there. You're not bending the cord of the like base attachment, if you know what I mean. So I really love that. I think that's definitely a plus. Obviously they've created this, but I did want to shout that out because in the past with other hair tools, I have not had that much luck in trying to fit everything into like one smaller compact case or area. I do really love how the auto wrap or the Airwrap provides a 90s blowout effect, and I know that's pretty much always in style, so if you're after that and you want to give this tool a try, definitely give it a try. And then the auto wrap attachments do grab onto the hair pretty easily, like, you know, when you're like doing it and you're trying to catch it onto the barrel. It works very well. I've never tried the Dyson, like I've already said, so I don't know how it would compare to the Dyson, but I did watch somebody who said this seems to catch a little bit easier, which is nice. And I really love that this is an easy one and done tool for daily life, travel. You can just pack this, and it does take up a little bit of room, but it's an easy little like rectangular box. You just stick it in your luggage and you're good to go. You don't need any other tool unless you want to straighten your hair. One thing that I was shocked by is that this cuts my drying and styling time in half. With a traditional hair dryer, it takes about 45 minutes to blow dry my whole head of hair, like from air dried to straight. And with this, it takes 20. With the paddle brush attachment, with the concentrator, it takes 20. It looks really good. It smooths my hair out really nicely. And then the actual styling of the Airwrap cuts my time in half as well. 20 minutes maybe, but with a curling iron, it takes longer than that for me. Personally, I just have a lot going on. And this is just kind of vain, but it's pretty. It's aesthetically pleasing. I love the color. I just like the way it looks, so I did want to shout that out. So let's go ahead and go over some cons because there are some here. Like I said, it's still expensive. The breakdown of this does work in its favor, but it's very pricey. It's a pricey investment and it's not attainable for everybody to get. I probably wouldn't usually get this, but I really wanted to try it out for a video, so I did invest in it. But when I had to pay that bill, I was not too thrilled, even though I was saving money from buying a Dyson. And like I mentioned briefly earlier, your hair can get stuck if you're like going with a a round brush attachment in that little area where it bends to make itself into a hair dryer type of tool. Your hair can get caught there, so that is something to take note of and be cautious of. And I do want to touch on this. You do have to provide product support. Let me explain that. So you have to prep your hair properly before you use this. You have to go in with like, you know, proper shampoo, whatever shampoo and conditioner works for your hair. Typically, like when you're using any other hot tool, use that for this. Don't use like anything you haven't used before. Obviously, that sounds like, you know, an obvious point, but you also need to go in with like hairspray, texture spray, mousse sometimes. Something like this with a lot of hold is helpful, especially if you live in a high humidity environment like I do. I also go in, like, I'm very, very nice to my hair. I have a whole hair routine video. I'll link it up in the eye and down below, and it is key to prep your hair properly. Now, I want to make a little disclaimer. I have to prep my hair properly like that regardless of what kind of tool I'm using, because my hair is prone to dryness and damage. I've experienced a lot of issues with it when I didn't treat it right with any sort of hot tool. So in order to make this work and to protect your hair properly, you do have to pamper it before you go in with it. You can't go in completely productless, if that makes any sense. So you can kind of take that, you know, as you want to. Some people would look at that as, you know, not a big deal like me, and some of the people would be like, oh, well, it's kind of a con because there's just too much prep that you have to do on your hair in order to make it work. I can understand both sides. Then the concentrator, I want to shout out the concentrator for the blow dryer. It could be more narrow. One thing that I did run into a couple of times, especially in high humidity, is my baby hairs are very, very wavy, curly, like I was saying, and it's not narrow enough to get super, super close to the root and pull it with like a round brush. I think it could benefit from being slightly more narrow and not as wide. It's not a super wide concentrator. This is just a nitpicky comment that I noticed on my own hair, and I wanted to kind of make a point to say that. So if Shark ever made a separate concentrator, I would probably buy it if it was like more narrow. So let's talk about if it works well on textured hair and if it works well in humidity. So I personally think that this works wonderfully on textured hair. I did already mention that you have to prep it properly. I feel like if you have textured hair though, you probably have to deal with that anyway. But I do, like I said, I do want to make a note of that because you have to prep your hair for this to work, and it really does help to have some sort of hold product or a couple of hold products to really maximize its effect. I do think it does work well in humidity. Like I said, I keep saying this over and over again, I'm a broken record. The key to make your style last is products and also method. So method number 3, if you want to reference back to that with all the excessive steps it feels like, that is key. This product is key. This product is key. Or any sort of product that you have that are similar that you like. It's key to have hold products. I'm not really a hairspray person, which is why I use texture spray, but you need something to hold it, especially if it's hot and humid. Another thing that I want to point out is there is a cool shot on here, just like there is on the Dyson, and that's also key. So you wanna cool shot it. I feel like maybe would be cool shoot. You wanna cool shoot it. You wanna shoot it with the cool setting, and you wanna hold it there, let it cool down, and then unwrap it, and then still let it cool from there. That is the best way to make it last. So cool shot, let it sit, and prepping it properly. Method, product, prepping it, all of the above. Basically, you want to prep it, you want to use correct products that work for you with any other tool, and method, how you do it, how you style it, and using the cool shot and letting it sit. Do I think it's necessary to purchase? No. As you can see, I'm pretty much giving it a rave review, but I am not blind to the fact that this is a very expensive hair tool. Yes, there's a lot going on here. You get a lot with your purchase, but it's an investment. It's expensive. You do not need it to have good hair days. I like it, I love it, I enjoy using it. It's one of my favorite ways to style my hair, but I'm not somebody who like loves to style my hair anyway. So I think that's part of the reason I like it. It cuts my time down in half. It's easy, so that's part of the reason for the appeal for me. But before this, I was styling my hair perfectly fine for years with straighteners, curling irons, regular blow dryers, and I thought my hair looked pretty good then. So don't think you need it. I think it's a good gift to get yourself or others if you know somebody in your life is like really wanting to. I think it's a good thing to maybe look into during sales because you can at least get some money off, you know? So no, I don't think it's necessary to purchase unless you're absolutely into these kind of tools, and if you just think that it would make your life a little bit easier because you basically only have one tool with a bunch of different attachments. So do I think it's worth the price for me, and do I think it's worth the price overall? Yes, for me, I think it's worth the price. Obviously, this is based on person to person, but I think it's worth it for me because it's an all-in-one tool. I'm not somebody who likes to do my hair. I much prefer to do makeup and then just have my hair done as quickly as I possibly can, and this tool allows for it. I also love that I can fit it in a piece of luggage pretty easily, and it takes up a relatively small area in my suitcase. I mean, it's sort of big, but it's also sort of small in the comparison of, you know, piling multiple different hair tools on top of each other. But I could see how it wouldn't necessarily be worth it for everybody because it's still a hefty price, even just for like a base model without all the extra attachments that I purchased. If you want to get the Dyson or you want to try that sort of product out, I would definitely try this one first. It's like half the price for just a base model, and of course you can still get everything for less than what the Dyson is. I think it's worth it for me. I don't necessarily think it's for everybody if you don't think you're going to use it, or if you don't think you're going to use it much. I also want to mention that there was, of course, a little bit of a learning curve with this. Naturally, the auto wrap part, which is like the Airwrap part, takes a little bit of getting used to. It was relatively easy for me. I got it after a couple of tries, but there is that. You have to learn how to do that. Another thing that'll determine if you think it'll be worth your purchase is how much do you want to invest on the products that you have to prep your hair with beforehand with this, or really any other hot tool, but just like, let's isolate this. Do you want to prep your hair that much? Do you want to try all different methods? That's where you're going to have to determine if you think it's worth it for you. Do you know what I mean? Overall, I think this is an excellent hair tool. I was very satisfied. I was thoroughly impressed. I did not think I was going to like it very much, and I definitely did not think that I was going to love it like I do. So that was really exciting. I have a hard time reaching for any of my other hair tools since trying this because it just gives me the look I want for pretty much every style, and I just love the way like it makes my hair look. I know I'm being so redundant, but it just looks really good. I really love it. I think, like I said, if you're somebody who just doesn't like to put that much time into your hair, but you want it to look better than the time that you spent on it, this is a product that might be worth looking into. I definitely would recommend maybe buying it during this Sephora sale or something like that, so you get at least like $50–$60 off. Every little bit helps, right? But yeah, I really love it. I think it's worth it for me and somebody like me. I really like the way it worked on my hair type, so I do think it was worth it for me, and I'm really excited I bought it. But you can take this information that I provided in this video and of course reference the document that I'm going to link down in the description box and figure out if you think that it would maybe be worth your investment. Keep in mind, I know not a lot of people like to say this, but if you try it out for 30 days after you buy it, you can go to Sephora and get your money back within that 30 days. If you try it out for 2 months or 60 days, you can go back to Sephora and at least get a credit if you don't like it. So just keep that in mind. I'm not entirely sure how Shark's return policy works, but you can of course look that up on their website if you wanted to buy it from there and kind of customize a kit rather than buying one that's like already like pre-put together. So I think that's pretty much it for this video. I feel like I covered a lot of ground. Hopefully it wasn't too wordy, but hopefully it was just wordy enough to where you got a lot of information that you wanted, learned some things, got a good idea of how I feel about it. I'm very excited that I made this video. I'm very excited I got to kind of study this tool for about 4 or 5 months to give you full thoughts and a full-fledged review before the summer is over, barely. So if it's still hot or humid where you are, I hope that this video helps you. I'm really excited to use it in the winter. I'm really excited to use it pretty much all the time. Like I said, I have a hard time putting it down. I have like one singular hair. You're not helping this video hair, like we're trying to look good. But anyway, yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed this video, found it helpful, educational, whatever you needed from this video, I hope you got from it. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, please give it a thumbs up and hit that notification bell down below and subscribe to my channel if you are new here. If you haven't checked out the rest of my channel, definitely go do so because we do beauty, we do lifestyle. I just recently put up a trying new makeup video, and I also have been diving into some other things as well, like some other video topics. So if you want to check those out, definitely do that, and stick around if you like what you see. I'd love to have you join my family over here. But anyway, for now that is it. So I hope you guys have the best rest of your day, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!